Okay, let's talk about doom scrolling. In the next few minutes, we are going to break down the psychology of why you just can't stop scrolling through all that bad news, and, more importantly, how you can actually take back control. You know the feeling, right? You pick up your phone, maybe just to check one little thing, and then half an hour vanishes. You're just trapped, scrolling through this never ending feed of terrible headlines, feeling more and more anxious. But for some reason, you just can't look away. It always starts with just one thing, maybe an update on a war somewhere. And then the algorithm jumps you to a local crime story. And pretty soon your entire feed is just filled with political chaos and all the latest scandals. And before you even know what's happening, you are just completely swamped by this tidal wave of negativity. So this whole behavior, it has a name, doom scrolling. But here's the thing you have to understand. This isn't just some bad habit or, a personal flaw. It is a deep, deep psychological response that our ancient brains are literally hardwired for. And modern technology has gotten really good at exploiting it. So, to really understand why this happens, we have to go way, way back. We're talking about your brain's ancient survival code. Because what feels like a modern-day glitch, it's actually a very, very old feature. At the very heart of this is a concept called negativity bias. You can think of it like a program that's hardwired into your brain, one that automatically makes you pay way more attention to bad news than good news. And this isn't new. It's a survival instinct that's been running for thousands of years. Here's a really simple way to think about why that program even exists. For our ancient ancestors, well, ignoring good news might mean you miss out on a meal. Bummer. But ignoring bad news, like, say, a tiger in the bushes, that meant you became the meal. Evolution basically programmed us to prioritize threats above absolutely everything else. So, what happens when you take that ancient brain wiring and plug it into the modern world? Well, it gets hijacked. Today's tech has become an absolute expert at exploiting that survival instinct just to keep you hooked. So when a scary headline triggers that sense of threat, our brain kicks into something called information-seeking behavior. Our gut instinct tells us that if we just gather more information, we'll reduce our anxiety, we'll feel safer. But here's the crazy paradox. That constant stream of updates, it doesn't actually calm you down. It just keeps you locked in that state of high alert. This whole thing creates this incredibly powerful loop. And honestly, the best way to understand it is to think of doom scrolling as a slot machine. The first part of the machine is super simple. Fear is the hook. It's what grabs your attention and makes you pull that lever just to see what comes next. And what's the payout? Well, dopamine is the reward. See, every single time you scroll, your brain gets a little rush from anticipating that you might find that one key piece of info that will finally make sense of everything. That feeling of searching, that releases a little hit of dopamine. It's not about the news itself, it's about the hunt. And that creates a highly addictive cycle of fear and reward. And of course, social media platforms, news outlets, they all get this perfectly. Headlines are literally engineered for urgency, using words like breaking and shocking, because fear is by far the strongest magnet for our attention. The goal isn't to give you clarity, the goal is engagement. I mean, think about it. Nuance takes effort to understand, but fear spreads instantly. So what's the real cost of being caught in this loop? And maybe more importantly, what's the escape plan? Let's talk about how you can actually start reclaiming your own attention. The consequences are very, very real. Constantly doom scrolling puts your entire nervous system into a chronically activated state, like you're always on the lookout for danger. And that leads directly to things like increased anxiety, insomnia, irritability, and just this deep sense of hopelessness and emotional fatigue. You feel totally drained because mentally, your brain's been fighting off imaginary tigers for hours on end. This cycle feels so powerful, right? Almost unbreakable. So how in the world do you actually escape it? The good news is there are some really practical, really effective strategies you can start using. Okay, here are 3 simple but incredibly powerful ways to break the cycle. First up, schedule your news. Just pick one time a day to check in. That's it. You decide when the information comes to you, not your phone. Second, ask yourself this one key question before you even open an app. Will this information help me make a better decision today? If the answer is no, then you're not informing yourself, you're just consuming emotion. And third, swap fear for context. Unfollow the outrage accounts and instead follow some educators, analysts, or historians. Context is the antidote to anxiety. So the crucial point to take away from all of this is pretty simple. There is a huge difference between being an informed citizen and being an emotionally consumed person. The goal isn't to stick your head in the sand. It's to stop letting this endless fire hose of information dictate your mental and emotional state. And I'm just going to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Your attention is your single most valuable resource. It is the currency of your life. And if you don't consciously control where you spend it, you can be absolutely certain that someone else will.